You've seen American, the Bill Hicks story, the documentary. So I'm curious what you thought about it. What did you like? What did you think was missing?
Well, I think it's a terrific movie. I think both for Bill Hicks fans and people who may have heard of him but don't really know much about him, I think it's a terrific, terrific introduction to what he was all about, the core of what made Bill so terrific. My issues with the film, well, before I get to my issues, let me also say that as a filmmaker, the filmmakers of American, the Bill Hicks story, I think did an incredible job. I mean, the entire movie, really, except for the first couple of minutes, is all motion graphics. And what they succeeded in doing with motion graphics and telling his story with source material that's really talking heads and still photographs, I thought they did something really beautiful and artful with it. So I think even just as a piece of filmmaking, it's a terrific, terrific piece of work.
Yeah, well, no, I was talking about the film earlier, and I said, you know, I think that this is really where all documentaries are going to be going if they don't actually have enough of the original video material. Because I mean, the film "The Kid Stays in the Picture," that documentary about Robert Evans, was the first time I'd seen this sort of photo animation, but this seems very much taking it to the next level.
But in the Robert Evans doc, it was just a few minutes, and this is really pretty much the whole movie is done that way, and very artfully done. I felt really beautifully accomplished. So I loved the movie itself, and of course, I loved anything celebrating Bill. There were a few glaring omissions and a few sort of things about the movie that real hardcore Bill Hicks fans and real horror comedy fans might take issue with. One of which is that the movie clearly mythologizes Bill. Not that that's inappropriate, but that is something to remember, that this is definitely a very, very bright light on a very, very narrow view of Bill Hicks. One of the things that I took issue with in seeing the movie is that, at no point does it really refer to his comic influences. And I feel that does a disservice to a lot of other terrific comic artists out there who need to see that Bill actually had a development. As brilliant and prodigious as Bill was at the beginning of his career, he still had to go through some very, very hard and rich development, which we all have to do. And I would love it if people could see the movie and rather than sit back and go, wow, that's a one of a kind, that's this mythic figure that nobody can touch, rather to see the movie and go, wow, with a lot of hard work, integrity, and some introspection, you can also be as great as somebody like Bill Hicks was. So for example, Bill came up when he started going to the Comedy Works in Houston, the Comedy Workshop in Houston. The act that was kind of ruling the roost there was Sam Kinison, a very powerful personality, very powerful style, and Bill's influence from Sam Kinison is really major. In fact, Bill kind of struggled with it as his career went on. He was often lumped into the same category as a Sam Kinison type of comic, when really they had diverged more so than anything else. They were very different, really, in many, many ways. And it frustrated Bill a lot because Kinison's comedy seemed to Bill to be really kind of antithetical. It seems a little more cruel, a little less compassionate, a little less soulful. And so he always objected to that comparison. But in the movie, American, you can actually see there are certain early performances of Bill's where it's unbelievable how much of Kinison's performing style he had adapted. And eventually he grew out of all of that. But to have an entire documentary about Bill Hicks not mention the comic influences that he had that were so profound, I think does a little bit of a disservice and a little bit obscures the truth of what it's like to become the kind of comedian that Hicks became. I was really delighted to see that his compatriots, his early colleagues, when he started out at the workshop, got some attention and were listened to a bit, because it's nice. Those guys are all real serious artists, and they've been doing it for a long time, and nobody seems to really notice them. So I was really glad that they got some light.